considered the best in the game. I mean, you've even been dubbed the LeBron of the game, of the virtual game. Now, I know you grew up with humble beginnings in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm wondering what those humble beginnings in Cleveland taught you about setting a goal, taught you about working toward that goal, taught you about achieving a dream. Could you speak to us for that?
Yeah, so, I grew up, it was interesting, how everything came together. I grew up, pretty rough. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, born and raised, and grew up in a pretty rough neighborhood. And I think the way I grew up, what it taught me is, how to work, how to grind. And I think that's what helped me get here today. Just, I had to grind for everything, just to be able to eat. We wouldn't have something to eat, so, it'd be like, man, how are we going to get $10 to go get milk, bread, eggs, cheese, to have something to eat. So I think, whether that was, pumping gas or shoveling snow, because it actually snows in Cleveland, it'd be pretty cold. So whether that's shoveling snow or, driveways or, whatever I have to do, just, grind. That's what I was taught. That's what I grew up on. And just grind and work hard for, whatever it is you want in life. So I think that's what kind of helped me get here. And, I'm very thankful for the way I grew up.
Absolutely. Now, when we find that passion of ours, there's always a story of how it came into our lives. So I'm wondering, how did you find gaming? How did you find becoming an expert at this? And how did you first realize on top of that this is something I can do for my life?
Yeah, so I guess my story with how everything sort of began was, it started in 2K9. So I'm a professional NBA 2K player. So I play NBA 2K professionally, and NBA 2K is basically just basketball. So I played the game basketball professionally, virtually. The way that sort of began is 2009 when I started playing. I got my first Xbox 360. My mother actually gave me the money, and I went and bought an Xbox 360. I bought Xbox Live, and when you start gaming, and I had Xbox and Xbox Live, so I'm thinking okay, I have everything I need. I'm about to start gaming right away. No, they don't tell you everything you need. You got to have good internet, because if you don't have good internet, you're gonna start playing the game, and then you're gonna be lagging and everything, and it won't work right. So I got Xbox Live, and I got 360, and I started playing 2K9. So I'm playing 2K9, and everything transitioned from my real life love and passion for the game of basketball, which is why I started playing NBA 2K. So I started playing 2K9 with friends and everybody around the neighborhood, and we're just playing 5-on-5. So I'm controlling LeBron James, and you're controlling Luka Doncic, and we're guarding each other. So it's 5v5, and I'm playing with people around the neighborhood. So 2K9 was sort of the startup year. So, and once I started playing, I just fell in love with it. So I'm getting home from school, I'm doing my homework, and I'm gaming for the rest of the night, and then wake up and do everything again. So 2K9 was the practice year, and then 2K10 and 2K11, which was 2010 and 2011, I had the #1 ranked team in the world. So there's a leaderboard that states, shows all the stats, all the assists, all the points per game, all the wins and losses from every team and every player in the world. So I had the #1 team in the world consecutively both years, so 2K10 and 2K11. So I'm like, man, I'm actually pretty good at this. From there on, 2K12 to about 2K16. So for those next 4 years, I'm just playing in tournaments. So I'm trying to play in tournaments, and I can win $50 here, $20 here, $30 here, and that was everything. That's big money to me at the time. So because, $20, that's food, for the next couple of days. Or $10, that's the $10 I could give to my parents to, go and buy the milk, egg, cheese, bread, whatever we needed. So so for them years I'm playing, and, I'm just playing out of the love of the game. I love it. So for the longest time, I wasn't making money. I wasn't making any money from gaming. So I'm playing and just, playing for bragging rights or respect from other top players. So we're playing game battles with this which is MLG that all the COD players and professional esports players play. And that's where, like it really, really took off, where all like the competitiveness started. So in 2016, they announced this $250,000 tournament for NBA 2K. So when they announced that, I'm like, oh man, like this is what I've been playing all these years for. Like this is what I've been grinding for. This is it. Like this is what I need to do. So we went on. I built a team, and I went on and I went and competed for the $250,000. I lost first round, so we lost. So the first game, you load up, and I lost that game. So I'm like devastated, heartbroken. Like I'm like, man, like I just turned the game off, and I was super frustrated and just heartbroken, and I went to sleep immediately. So after I woke up, I started working towards the next year, man. I'm like, man, they have to do this again. Like, they just have to, because this can't be the end. So I'm working towards 2K17, and 2K17 comes around, and they announce the $250,000 tournament again. So the first year, in 2016, it was the road to the finals. And then the second year, it was the road to the All-Star tournament. So they announced it, and I'm like, okay, we're not losing this time. We're locking in. We're about to do it. So I built the team again, and we went on to play the tournament. But before we played the tournament, they announced the NBA 2K League, which is what I do now. So the NBA 2K League is just NBA organizations coming along and having a gaming team and an esports team, and they draft you, and then you basically do. So what I always say is I do like a literal mimic of the actual NBA. So I fly, I travel the world, I play against other NBA organizations. I get to meet cool like celebrity people, and the best part about it is make money. Obviously, I can support myself, and so I'm playing against all these other teams and stuff. But when they announced it, they announced this as well. So I'm like, wow, man, $250,000 is cool, but this is like a career. This is something I could do for the rest of my life.
Wow.
So I went on to the $250,000 tournament the second year, to the road to All-Star, and I went to play it, but I was playing to like get my name out there, let people know who I am, and showcase my skills, basically to show people how good I am at the game. So I went on and I played my heart out, and we ended up winning the whole tournament. So I ended up winning the $250,000 tournament, and I won like the MVP award. I'm averaging like 33 points per game, 14 assists per game, just going crazy. And I think the reason I went so crazy is because I really like needed it and wanted it. Like this is what I wanted to do. I knew that from the get-go, and I just really liked it. And now I'm here today as the #1 overall pick for the Dallas Mavericks and Mavs Gaming, and it's just been a crazy ride.
Wow. Wow. Someone who's as successful as you are always is looking ahead. The way you are in a game, always keeping eyes up, looking ahead. What do you have on the horizon for you? What do you have planned for this year, for the coming years? Where do you see Dimes blowing up in the future? Talk to us.
Yes, so right now we're working towards season 3. So season 2, we had a pretty good season. Was the #1 overall, or the #2 team in the league. And so right now we're just working towards season 3, trying to bring home a championship to Dallas. As far as my personal brand, Dimes, working on having my own clothing line, women's and males. And the last thing I guess I would say is just trying to learn more about more of the business side of what I do, because gaming obviously won't last forever, but I want to stay in the field of gaming, so in the esports field. But so I'm like sitting in on extra meetings, learning, the sponsorship side, the business side, like just the social media side, because there's so many different aspects in what I do. It's not just, you don't just have to be a professional gamer. You can be a content creator. You could be a photographer. There's different avenues. So just trying to learn everything about every little thing there is to know.
It's amazing. Now, Dimes, we have a lot of middle school students in the room, and at one point in your life, you were a middle school student, and you've achieved so many things. So I'm going to challenge you to look back to your middle school self, young Dimes, little Dimes,
Yes,
and what would you say to little Dimes in middle school to inspire him to keep him pushing forward, and maybe some inspiration that these young scholars and stars can take with them into this next semester and this next week? So what would you say to little Dimes about success and about dreams and about work? what would be your advice to yourself?
Number one thing is, and I heard someone else say it earlier, it's just that anything is possible. And that really is true. Like I said, I went for this and I had like nothing. Like literally, I had nothing. Might not have even had food that day. So I went for this and I went for it with my all. And I think that goes with whatever it is you do in life, just go for it. And if there was something I could tell myself before, it would be that, this isn't it. Just because your life is here right now doesn't mean it has to stay here. There's a up, there's a higher, there's something more. It doesn't just have to be that. I had never been out of Cleveland in my life, and next thing I know, I'm flying to New Orleans, I'm flying to Dallas, I'm flying to New York, to do and meet and just do all different types of things. So this isn't it. Go for whatever it is you want to do in life. Learn everything there is to know about it, and then go for it with y'all. That'd be, what I would tell you guys and my old self.
Can you please make a lot of noise for Mavs rock star Dimez?
Thank you.
Give it up for Dimez, y'all.